Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. And yeah, we're going to be creating some more Gunforged content today. But before I get started with that, I just want to let you all know that today is the last day that you can get my new Godot C# course at a discounted price. It's the first link in the description below. Use that link to get the course at a discount. And yeah, this is the last day that discount code will be effective. So yeah, check out that link if you're interested. I also have other GDScript courses that you can check out and purchase if you're interested. And that will both greatly help me, but also I think you're going to learn a lot and you're going to enjoy those courses. So with all that said, let's go ahead and get into what we're doing for the stream today. Hello, Solo Leveling. Hello, Dev Ghost. It's evening here. What whereabouts are you from, Solo Leveling? You don't have to say specifically if you don't want to, but I'm curious. Maybe you've already said, I don't know. You're gonna have to pardon me if I'm a little bit slow. I was up at 5 a.m., couldn't sleep, so we are going to be trying to power through this stream and get some more content built. Good morning, Jack. India, okay, very cool. Hello, Karsten. Welcome to the stream. I don't think I've seen you here before, or if you've been here before, I don't think you've ever chatted, so it's very nice to see you. Hello from Virginia, fellow East Coast time. Hello, Nick. Welcome to the stream. Have you tried the moon ring? I'm addicted. I don't know what that is. If you want to explain it to me. Hello, Abo. Welcome, everyone. Okay, so last time when I was streaming, what was it, 2 days ago, it's free and nice RPG elements. Okay, I'll check that out. So, last time when I was streaming, we were working on a meta progression system. I unfortunately did not have a whole lot of time to work yesterday, but I've added a couple of new passive or meta upgrades, I guess you could say. The permanent progression system that we're building here. And let's see. So I guess I'll just go over the tree here. So I've added a couple things. We've got your total money count in the corner here. And then you've got also the number of unlocks up here. And I've started to build out the tree quite a bit. I obviously still need to do icons and whatnot, but I think I'll just go through everything that I have. And we will kind of go through it. Correct, just saw that you do live streams too. Awesome. Well, welcome. It's good to have you here. So here's all the progression items we have. So we've got the first one, the sort of starting node, is stamina regeneration is increased by 10%, and then that branches off in 4 directions. This structure is probably going to change a little bit as I build out more passives and I try to figure out, or more upgrades rather, and I try to figure out what a proper like flow is, but this is just temporary. So we've got stamina regen, we've got additional gold being dropped on this side, increased dash speed by 50%, then we've got increased health globe drop rate, increased health by 1, so this is just in straight up starting health. We've got start each run with a free random rune, deep pockets, which increases the rune inventory slots by 2, increase rune drop rate by 50%, encounters and events appear 33% more frequently. I like the title of this one, Come Out of Your Room, We Have Visitors. I'm sure there are people in this chat who can relate. And, well, the wishing well can be used multiple times with the cost increasing with each usage. So those are the things we've got going on so far. And I've got a couple of more written down here. So I want to get all these done in this stream, which shouldn't take too long. And then if all of that goes well, I want to start working on the icons for each of these upgrade nodes as well. So we've got increased dash count by 1, start with a loot goblin. Gun Scrambler can be used up to 3 times. Health Sacrifice Shrine has a 50% chance not to reduce max health. I think that's going to be a powerful one. Player passive options can be re-rolled once per run, and then player passive options can be re-rolled twice per run. So I'm imagining these as 2 separate nodes. You get the first one, and then you can get the second one. Because I don't really have a concept of purchasing more than one of the same node. So Now the question is, do I want to add support for that? I think the answer is no. I think we'll just keep it simple. So let's just start by working on this one. Increase dash count by 1. So let's just create a new resource here. Meta upgrade resource. Increased stamina. What is a good name for this? Let's write the description first because I know what that's going to be. The cost here will make that 50. I have to play with the costs too. I'm just kind of making up numbers right now, so I'm going to have to figure out the pacing here, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to figure out the pacing very well unless I play the game a bunch, which I'm going to have to do anyway, so. Okay, so display name. What should we call this? What should we call this? What should we call it? I guess we'll just call it something simple like endurance. I'm trying to come up with kind of like, I don't want to say like clever names, but like slightly humorous names for all these, but sometimes that's not very easy, so. Okay, so we've got the increased stamina resource now. So what I can do is I can duplicate increase stamina regen, increase health globe. Let's do something interesting here. Increased dash speed. So we've got dash speed, health globe drop rate, increased health. So I'm sort of thematically grouping these things together. So like this side of the tree is related to runes and encounters, and that's what the branch is here. This bottom tree is sort of related to health. This left tree will be related to gold and maybe other rewards. And then this north bit here, this up bit, is related to stamina. Increase stamina regen. I think I need a better like root node. But let's just start by duplicating this increased dash speed. We'll just throw that up there. And now it's starting to leave the little screen that we've built here, so we're gonna have to deal with that as well. So increase stamina, drag over that resource. Okay, and now we need to account for that. So let's go to VS Code. I've got a meta upgrade ID class here that just contains basically a list of all these upgrades. Okay, and then I can go to my meta upgrade tree. We'll create the increased stamina node. So upgrade node dot from meta upgrade ID dot increased stamina. And then we want to add increased dash speed. So I'm going to put this right under here. Increased stamina is going to be dependent upon increased dash speed. Cool. So let's just run this and make sure it's all connected correctly. Track star, that's a good one. Congratulations, Jack. Your suggestion is going in the game. Track star. Oops, not start. Star. Description of Moonring. Dark fantasy turn-based retrofusion of classic turn-based RPGs and roguelikes. That does sound interesting. I'm definitely going to check that out, especially if it's free, because yours truly is on a budget. All right, so track star, increase stamina by 1. So there's our node. Now it's going off the edge a little bit, and the way that I'm going to resolve that is I've got this upgrade control. So I'm going to set a custom minimum size to something like 360, and I can use this custom minimum size to control the scroll bar here, which is a little bit janky, but I guess what I need to do is not go past the top. So I can do this, for instance. And if I run this scene, I should be able to scroll. Yeah. So that's kind of what we got going on here. It's going to be a little bit awkward. But it's going to be easier once the tree actually takes its final shape. Okay, so now we need to make that work. So let's go ahead and go into the player dash manager. And in here, current dashes and max dashes. So those are the things that need to be changed. Increment dashes, set current dashes. Yeah, so I think I can just call increment dashes. Now, when this meta upgrade gets added, update cooldown timer. I think I need to set the base dashes. So I think what I need to do is I need to do this. Let's do this. Private const int base dash count is equal to 1. The max dashes is going to be equal to the base dash count to start. Let's create a method called update base dash count. And this is kind of like these methods are just recalculating everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to well, sorry, I'm just thinking here. Update cooldown timer. Right, okay, so that gets called there, and it also gets called there. Cool. So the update base dash count, so what I need to do is I need to essentially create a new private int. Private int base dash count is equal to base dash count. Okay. So we'll do this. Base dash count is equal to if meta upgrade, or no, if save manager dot has meta upgrade ID dot increased stamina. Then what we're going to do is we're going to say base dash count plus plus. And then what we'll do is we will call I actually need to keep track of something. I need to keep track of multiple pieces of data. So we've got the base dash count, we've got the max dashes. Let's say private int additional dashes. I'm going to change this to just a calculated property. So I'm going to do max dashes is going to be equal to the lowercase base dash count, because this is the adjusted one, plus the additional dashes. And what I'm going to do in here is I'm going to set this additional dashes to plus plus. And then when I call set current dashes, it's going to be current. Right, okay. So that's fine. So what I can do now is I can manipulate this base dash count. What is going on here? Just trying to figure out how this logic is working. This is not very clear, is it? So set current dashes. Update base dash count. That changes the base dash count there, which is changing this max dashes, which is being used throughout this class, which is good. On cooldown timeout. So I think what I want to do is probably just in here, whenever update base dash count is called, I probably want to just set the current amount of dashes. So set current dashes to max dashes. Okay, so what I've essentially done is I've broken up the base dash count. I've broken that out apart from the additional dashes that you're getting in the run. And so what this meta upgrade is doing is it's going to modify the base dash count, but leave any additional dashes in place. And there's not really a situation in which it's going to be possible to have additional dashes when you add this meta upgrade, but for safety purposes, I think it's better to just split those up. And then, yeah, so anytime the meta upgrade is added, it's just going to recalculate it. So it's resetting the base dash count to base dash count, and then it's checking to see if I've got that meta upgrade or that permanent progression, and then it's incrementing the base dash count there. I think that's going to work, but of course we need to test it, so let's go ahead and run the game. So what is the plan for meta progressions? Are there going to be transformative upgrades? Is it going to be more of stat increases? It's going to be both. So there are going to be some transformative upgrades, and there are going to be some stat increases as well. I guess, do you want to clarify what you're thinking of with transformative? Like, are you thinking changing elements of the gameplay specifically? Hello, Luca. There's the yup. Hello, Neozoid. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Okay, oh, I also made this little crystal, which is like my upgrade tree table here. So I open this, and then I can do boom, boom, and now I've got 2 dashes. And if I go into the game, I should also have 2 dashes. Nice. And if I get any additional dashes, which I'm hoping I will, that will also help. Ooh, there's a rune. Hello. Increased stamina, look at that, boom. And now we can test it. Now I've got 3 dashes. Sweet. And I already started with a free rune because I have one of the related upgrades. Very nice. Okay. I'm going to call that one good to go. I've also created a little handy tool here. So the save data JSON is being written just to one of my local directories here, which is great because it typically writes to the user directory, and then you have to go open that folder up all the time. But I added conditional logic for debug builds. This save.json gets written into my .logs folder here. So I can go in here. Oh, and it also gets printed, like pretty printed, when I save it. So it's not just on a single line like it typically would be. And so I can see everything in here. And the beauty of it is I can, if I want to reset my progress, I can just delete all that, and then I can give myself some more currency for testing purposes. So yeah, that's cool. Anyway, add increased stamina meta upgrade. Boom. All right, what's the next one? Start with a loot goblin. This is going to be a fun one because there's a couple of things that need to happen here. Firstly, it's adding a passive to the player. So that is going to be... It's going to be a little bit different than how we've handled the other upgrades, but also we need to make sure that that upgrade gets removed from the table of possible upgrades because you don't want to get 2 loot goblins, right? So we just got to make sure that that's all functioning correctly. I think there's a pretty standardized way of picking out passives, but I don't know if I specifically have a way of removing a specific passive from the table. So that's going to be interesting. So let's see how this goes. Create resource, meta upgrade resource. We're going to call this, I just call it Loot Goblin. Cool. Display name. Sorry, 1 second. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, display name. Let's do, let's call it Little Friend. How sweet is that? Gain the Loot Goblin as a permanent companion. We're going to make this one like 125. I have no clue if that's going to be an appropriate cost or not, but... All right. Let's go ahead and go into our meta upgrades. Public. Oops. I'll just duplicate this. I suppose that'd be easier. Cool. Now we go to our meta upgrade tree. Var loot goblin equal to upgrade node from meta upgrade ID. Meta upgrade ID dot loot goblin. Where do we want to put this one in the tree? Increase rune drop rate. Put it over on the right-hand side, I suppose. Oops. Loot goblin. Drag that over. Very nice. And then we need to move this. Just move it over there, I suppose. All right, now we need to handle what happens when this gets added. So firstly, increase rune drop rate. Add the increased rune drop rate as a dependency, and then let's handle what happens when that gets added. So let's go to the player. I'm going to do this actually. Passive. Player passive manager in here. Now, maybe this is what I'm looking for. Emit player passive added. Okay, so it looks like everything's already in place, where if I call add passive in this player passive manager, it should automatically remove it from the loot table. So if I add the loot goblin, then yeah, then it should be fine. So I'm actually going to put this in the player passive manager here. I think this is going to be the easiest place to do this. So I'll create a method called initialize. If save manager dot has meta upgrade ID dot loot goblin. Then we're going to say var loot goblin passive is equal to, is there like a passive registry, or how am I doing this? I just got to figure out a good way of referencing this, or getting a reference to it rather. From ID. Okay, so I can just do oh, and it's also called loot goblin in the passive. Sweet. So what I can do is I can do this. Is player passive resource dot from ID loot goblin. So we've got that resource now, and what I should be able to do is call add passive loot goblin passive. Awesome. And then we also need to connect to the game events here. So game events dot meta upgrade added event handler. Or no. Instance dot meta upgrade added plus equals, well, we have to do goodness. All right. I forgot I have to do the connect method here. Connect game events dot signal name dot meta upgrade added callable dot from string on meta upgrade added. Private void on meta upgrade added string ID. If save manager dot has meta upgrade ID dot loot goblin. And we need to make sure that there is no loot goblin passive. So again, I'm just making sure that this is not creating multiple loot goblins, because this on meta upgrade added is being fired anytime an upgrade is added. Now I am passing in the ID, so what I could do is I could say if ID is equal to meta upgrade ID dot loot goblin ID and, you know, this kind of thing here. But what I might do instead is I might rename this to initialize meta upgrades. And then I'll just call that in here, but add this extra check. So not has passive as well up here. And then I'll just call initialize meta upgrades here. So now it should just be I can call that as many times as I want, and it will only ever add one loot goblin. Cool. All right, let's go ahead and see what happens. I'm going to give myself a ridiculous amount of money so that I can buy all that stuff. All right, let's see what happens. Let's see if it works. So little friend is up there. So boom, 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 boom. Bang. Did I get the loot goblin? Nice. Look at him. He's so cute. And if I go into the next level, I should start with him. Nice. And I should be able to see in my logs too, something like removed. Yeah. So here, removed passive loot goblin from the passive loot table. So since that's all flowing through the same logic, that loot goblin is just being removed from the passive loot table there. So that appears to all be working. So I'm going to go ahead and commit that. All right, what's the next one? Gun Scrambler can be used up to 3 times. All right, let's go ahead and do that. So let's create a new resource. Meta upgrade resource first. Gun Scrambler multiple uses. I don't know, I'd call it something dumb like scrambled eggs. Cost, we'll make this one 50 as well. We're going to put it next to the well multiple uses. Okay, so all of that's in place now, I believe. I need to go to my... I wish I could automate this. Did I already mention that? I don't think there's a good way to automate this, but without like reading the files, like creating a tool that reads the files and adds all this stuff. Gun Scrambler, multiple uses. Cool. Meta upgrade tree. And then we're going to make this dependent upon... We're going to make it basically the same as the well here. Gun Scrambler, multiple uses there. Okay, and I'm pretty sure I set all that up correctly, so let's just go straight to the Gun Scrambler. And we're going to say private int max uses equals 1. Private int current uses equals 0. If save manager dot has meta upgrade ID dot meta upgrade ID dot Gun Scrambler multiple uses, then we're going to say max uses is equal to 3. And then on interacted, slot selected, on slot selected here, scrambled. So it's going to call scramble. Is it doing anything in here? Let's do this. Current uses increment if current uses is less than max uses. Or let's do less or greater than or equal to max uses. Then we're going to toggle the interaction enabled to false. Otherwise, we'll leave it enabled. Okay, and let's do the random encounter handler component. Let's increase this Gun Scrambler weight quite a bit. And let's see if that works. I create automation for text files in NeoVim using Lua. Maybe you can do something similar with sed if Windows has it. No, I mean, I would just use the Godot APIs for automation. I'm already doing that in one place for my gun parts. I'm just reading and writing the files using the Godot APIs, because then I can just run the scene directly from the editor and it just works. Also, I don't know anything about NeoVim or Lua or sed, so I am but a humble Windows user. But those do sound like useful tools. All right, Gun Scrambler can be used up to 3 times. I just picked that up, so let's go ahead and see what happens. How's everyone doing? Anything interesting happening to anyone? Getting some weird flickering here. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, let's scramble some guns. Sweet. All right, I scrambled my gun 3 times. And I'm always paranoid about these kinds of things, but maybe I shouldn't be. I want to try without that upgrade as well and make sure it's just working with one. So we'll get rid of that upgrade. We'll go back into the game. Could be a blank animation to the player. Oh, yeah. Add a blink animation to the player for more liveliness. I think I want to touch up the player a little bit. Like, I want to do a little bit of work on his face. I think there's some things I can do to make him look a little bit more lively, like you say. Sorry, it was AFK. To clarify, transformative would mainly refer to complexity of the upgrade. 10% more damage would be a stat increase. Getting a free companion would be more transformative. Gotcha, yeah. So then, yeah, my answer was correct then. So there are going to be some stat increases, but so the way I'm going to think about it is that the transformative upgrades are going to be more expensive and farther out on the edges of the tree, whereas the stat upgrades are going to be they're going to be beneficial stat upgrades, but they're going to be cheaper because they're less impactful. So the idea is that the upgrades that have a more obvious impact on the game are going to be harder to get, but also cost more, but they're also going to have a bigger impact because they're transformative, like you said. Boom, gun scrambled. All right, so that's working great. All right, we're just knocking these out. That's the good thing about, I guess, the way that I've architected this game is that it's actually remarkably easy to add new content. Everything is properly isolated and abstracted in a way where there's not a whole lot of like systems entangled together. There's some of that for sure. I'm not saying that this is like an immaculate project, but you know, it's been relatively easy so far. Watch, now we're gonna have extreme difficulty with this next one. I do want to remove this though. Yeah, put that back. Okay. Add gun scrambler multiple uses. Hello, Vrabo, welcome back. Yeah, this gives more personality. I agree. I played Goblins a while ago. It's really fun. Awesome. Yeah, for anyone that's curious about Goblins, on my itch page, the latest Windows and Linux binaries for the game, so not the web version, but the latest Windows and Linux versions have multiplayer functionality. So if you want to grab a friend and try it out, let me know how that goes. There's also an extreme version of this where you could conceivably not want to get an upgrade, like Keystone's Path of Exile. Yeah, Path of Exile is interesting because it's like, yeah, it's about finding the most optimal path to your keystones, right? And sometimes you do have to take passives that are basically garbage. Did I play UFO 50? No, I haven't. I don't think I've heard of that. All right, sorry. There's a, just need to check my messages here. Okay. That's why I like the way you architect your projects. Seem very easy to add new features. I think so. I mean, it's, you know, I guess that's a little bit subjective, but I've made enough projects that were absolute messes that I think I have a good handle on like how to avoid those things. But okay, so we got Gun Scrambler multiple uses. Multiple uses. What is the next one? Health Sacrifice Shrine has a 50% chance not to reduce max health. That's going to be a very powerful one because typically when you go to the Health Sacrifice Shrine, you have to lose a heart, right? But now with this upgrade, there's a potential that you'll get all of the upside with none of the downside. And I think this one is particularly devious too, because I think it's going to bait players into using the Health Sacrifice Shrine more. It's more of a gambling situation where it's like instead of losing guaranteed health, it's like, oh, maybe I'll get away on the upside, and then it will actually like damage them, and now they'll be stuck with 2 health or something. So I actually think that this one is going to be really fun. It's gonna kick in that sort of like gambling tendency in players, which is always fun because that can that can really put a damper on your run if you're like, ooh, I'm gonna gamble, and then it doesn't go your way. So yeah, I'm excited about this one. So let's create the heart sacrifice preservation, I guess we'll call it. So heart sacrifice preservation, we'll call it gamble on your life, just like I was saying. Health sacrifice shrines have a 50% chance not to reduce max health. This one's very powerful, so I'm going to bump that up to 75. Again, I'm just guessing on these costs. I'm going to have to play the game a bunch and see what it feels like. But in any case. These are a little bit too close together. So I'm going to scoot these down. I probably shouldn't be spending too much time moving these things around, but I do want it to look nice-ish. So what essentially happens is that this one is connected to this one, and then this one is connected to each of these. Cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to our meta upgrade ID. Public, const, string, meta, or no, not meta, heart, sacrifice, preservation equals heart, sacrifice. Is that annoying? Preservation, all right. So let's go to our meta upgrade tree now. And this gun scrambler, multiple uses, duplicate that, heart, sacrifice, preservation. Oh, and I should have mentioned as well that if anyone has any ideas for permanent progression upgrades that they'd like to see, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I consider all of your suggestions. Your suggestion may not make it into the game, but there's already been a couple of viewers here who have made suggestions that have made it into the game. So yeah, if you're interested, give me some ideas. All right, so that is fine. It's a collection of 50 brand new retro-inspired games made by the creator of Spelunky and Downwell. Oh, interesting. So UFO 50, huh? To check that out too. There are also passives that outright negatives for some builds, but great for others. Oh, and Path of Exile. For instance, you cannot deal crits, but deal a lot more dot damage. Right. Yeah, I do. See, the thing with Path of Exile is I only ever... Oh, wait. Is my stream frozen? Uh-oh. Did the stream freeze? Can you guys still hear me? What is going on? Oh, wait. Maybe my video just froze? Oh, I think my video just froze. Okay, hold on. I will, as long as you can still hear me. Hello, video, come back. It's always something, isn't it? All right, am I back? Sweet. Okay, that's the first time. That's the first time that's happened. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. In Path of Exile, I only ever played Necromancer. That's literally the only thing I ever played. My character, like, select screen has, like, I don't want to exaggerate, but I think it's around, like, 10. Just, like, 10 level 80 plus Necromancers from, like, all the different seasons that I've played. So I'm not really that up to speed on, like, all the different builds that are available in the game. How did I make those UI animations for upgrades? For the passives? For the... Like when they slam down on the screen, is that what you're referring to? All right, I'm back. Good, good. Thank you, Snup Bill, for the 10,000 IDR. Very generous. Thank you so much. Very much appreciate that. Maybe some specific events for dungeon and graveyard only run in specific arena. That's a good idea. The upgrades after every wave. Sure, I can go over that a little bit. So let's see. Passives, passive reward selection screen. So there's a bunch of moving parts here. Basically, I've got these passive ingot animators, and this passive ingot animator, it basically controls the tweens and everything. So it's a little bit complex, but it's also simple at the same time. Now I actually have to look at this and see. Actually, you know what? It might be in the player passive screen. Passive reward selection screen. Yeah, okay, so it's calling basically for each of those 3 ingots here. It's calling an animation that I did with the animation player. So if I go to my passive ingot animator, this animation player here, we've got an in animation. And so if I play this, that's where that animation is coming from. And of course, when that animation impacts, I've got an emit impacted method here, or function call. That is what triggers the camera shake, so that it adds a little bit of oomph to it. So this animation, it comes in, it bounces, and that's when the camera shake gets played, I guess you could say. And then what takes over after that is the passive ingot selector. And the passive ingot selector basically just detects mouse entering and leaving the certain areas. And whenever that mouse detection happens, it plays, you know, like a little up animation for the ingot, starts the particles. It fades in this little red texture at the bottom, like it's heating up. And then it also, of course, fades in the sort of purple gradient in the background. So it's very simple. It's just a bunch of effects combined together. And then when I click on one, that's just the screen flashes white very briefly to give like a flash, like an impact. And then there's a particle that plays, and then the sound. And then I think the camera gets shaken as well. So it's just a bunch of like little tiny things put together. It's actually relatively simple. It just looks complicated just because there's a lot of things being triggered at once. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Do all the UI controls have their own scenes? Not all of them, but you know, like the ingots have their own scene and so on and so forth. It's kind of a judgment call, is like when you want to make a UI element a scene, because you could either make an UI element a scene, or you could add it to the theme potentially, so that it just has a default style every time you use it. You kind of have to use your best judgment on when to make them their own scenes. One possible meta upgrade could be loadouts. Your starting gun and set of runes. Not super impactful since you're going to replace it all in a few waves. Yeah, that's a good one. Let's see. Let me add that to the ideation list. Enable loadout selection. That one is very interesting, but it's going to be a little bit more involved than the other ones. So I'll have to see how I'm doing in terms of scope and time. One thing Godot 4 changes a bit how control nodes work for animation using tween. Yeah, control nodes have always been a little bit finicky to animate. Yeah, you have to put the control in a container. Yeah, that's honestly the best approach that I found, is like have a parent control that takes the size and shape of the thing that you're animating. but it basically wraps the thing that you're animating. And then you can animate the thing that you're animating freely, whereas the control serves as like the placeholder that holds the position in a container. I don't know if that makes any sense, but you're welcome. Bomb Dom. Okay. So let's go back to this heart sacrifice shrine. So let's go ahead and open that up. So here, if save manager.has meta upgrade ID dot heart sacrifice preservation and math util.rng.randf is less than 0.5. Oh wait, no, we don't want to do that. Else. Okay, so in here, let's just spawn some text. Let's do this. Health preserved. And we're going to do success color here. Cool. So we're just going to show a text float message that basically tells the player that they did not take damage. Okay, now it's time to see if that works. And if I'm just going to make this less than 1F here, just so that we can see that it's working. Hello, Rin. I am doing well. How are you doing? I feel like I'm the only, oh my gosh. I feel like I'm the only one who doesn't have a problem with control nodes and making menus. It's actually fun. Yeah, I think there are some aspects of doing it where it's fun. I think that making that meta upgrade sort of screen was a lot of fun. But yeah, making UIs can be a little bit, tedious. Except I don't understand why animating control nodes makes them jitter. Well, there's a couple of things going on. So the reason why you're not really supposed to animate control nodes, you're not supposed to animate control nodes that are children of containers, because container nodes automatically change the position and size of their children. And so there's like a constant fighting that happens, because as you're animating something, you're changing its position, but that position change triggers an update in the container where it wants to pull the thing back to where it wants to pull it back to. And so that's what I was talking about, is like, you kind of have to break the dependency between the container and its children. And the way that I typically do that is I introduce like a plain control node that sits between the container and its children. And that control node, I try to modify it so that it has the same dimensions as the child element, so that it looks like the child element is being manipulated by the container. But because the child element is actually a child of a plain control node, you can move that freely without having it fighting against the container trying to reposition it. Working on some assembly for the uni I do work for. Awesome. It's a good morning. Okay, what am I doing? Yeah, let's grab this health sacrifice. Boom. Oh, you know what? I need to increase the prevalence of that thing. So random encounter handler. Let's make the heart sacrifice more common. Good morning, Michael. How are you doing? UI animations are much smoother when they're children of a Node 2D. Yeah, that works as well. Should probably turn debug mode on so I don't have to fight this wave every time. Oh well, it's only 10 seconds. It's only 10 seconds and I get to destroy some of my enemies. All right, there's a heart sacrifice. Let's see if it works. Okay, that health preserved message comes up way too late. It's working, but it comes up way too late. Can I fix that? That's the question. Okay, I think I need to do this. Private player passive resource passive to grant. Actually, you know what? I don't need to do that necessarily. What I can do is I can keep this code in here, but move this chunk of code to the I'm going to change this to finalize, this call to finalize. And then in here, that's calling a bunch of things, but then this is where I'm going to apply the damage here. Okay, so basically what I've done is I've just... Oh, finalize is already something? Okay. Mark as complete. I don't know. I don't know what I should call this. Anyway, so now when this happens, so this will be called either after the passive screen has ended or after the passive screen is closed while it's... Because I guess what this one is for, what this little if block is doing is the player can press the escape key to close the selection screen after they've selected a passive. And so that case needs to be handled. Whereas this on ended here, this is called after the animation that gets played is finished. So both of these call mark as complete at the end of the day. And in here, this is where this save manager or this heart sacrifice preservation upgrade is going to kick in. Or the player is going to have their max health changed. So let's go ahead and give that a try. Oh, before I forget, let's go ahead and set the debug mode on the dungeon level here. Bam. All right. Sacrifice 1 max HP for a passive. Nice. Okay, so that worked. Now I want to see what happens if I do the other case where if I select one and then close immediately. Yep, still works. Cool. All right. So that's all working. So I'm going to change this back to less than 0.5. And is there something else that I need to do as well? I don't think so. Oh yeah, I need to reset this. Okay. Add heart sacrifice preservation. All right. All right, the next one is going to be fun. Player passive options can be rerolled once per run. And then there's going to be an addendum to that. Player passive options can be rerolled twice per run. So that's going to be interesting, I think. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take just a quick 2-minute break. And then when we come back, we're going to build these things. But in the meantime, while I'm on my quick little break, check out the links in the description below. This is the last day where you can get the Godot C# course at a discounted price. And so if you're interested in that, make sure to grab it. Otherwise, Udemy runs sales all the time. So just keep an eye on it if you wanna see if there's gonna be another sale. But yeah, thank you in advance for all your support. I'm gonna go on a short break, and then we'll be right back to work on these last couple items in this ideation column here. Alrighty. Welcome back to me. Alright, so this one is going to be interesting because it's going to entail a little bit of a change compared to what we've been doing so far. So this player passive options can be rerolled once per run. So let's first get that set up as a resource here. So let's do this. Resource. Let's say passive reroll. Do I want to use Roman numerals? Do I want to be really fancy? Passive reroll I. I probably don't want to do that, actually. Feels weird to put a number in there, but... Alright, whatever. Refreshing. I'll come up with better names for these later. Gain the ability to reroll passive options once per run. Let's do cost. I don't know. This is pretty hefty. We'll make it like 50. All right, so gain the ability to reroll passive options once per run. So now let's go ahead and add that in here. I already forgot what I called it. Passive reroll 1. Passive reroll. I don't like... I'm gonna write out the word 1. I'm sorry, I have to do it. 1. Okay, So passive reroll 1, let's go ahead and add that to the meta upgrade tree. We're going to add it as, let's close some of this stuff. We're going to add it as going to the left here. We got to fill out some more of this stuff. Get some more minor stat upgrades in there. Cool. And then increase stamina regen, gold drop rate. Let's add this here. Cool. All right then. Is there anything else I need to do here? I don't think so. So now we need to go to that passive reward selection screen that I was just talking about. Okay, this is going to be interesting actually, because now I need a way of keeping track of how many rerolls have happened. Where do I keep track of that data? Where should I put that? I guess wherever pick passives is being called, pick passives. Or whatever's responsible for spawning this screen, maybe. Show passive selection screen. That's not going to be useful either. Player passive manager. No, not that. Where is pick passives coming from? Player passive table manager. So there's the player passive table manager. So this pick passives is being called in the wave rewards manager here. I don't know what the best way of doing this is going to be. I think probably adding the player passive table manager. So let's just add it here. Or maybe it should go in the wave rewards manager. Yeah, maybe that's more appropriate actually. Oh, I already have a rerolls remaining here. What is this from? What is this even doing? Wave reward selection screen. Am I even using that anymore? Oh gosh, I'm not even using this anymore. This is an old screen. This is vintage. This is vintage Gunforged right here. Wait, so what? Is this generate loot rewards not being called anywhere? It's not, so I can just delete this. Check this out. Delete. Goodbye. Goodbye. Let's build the project just to make sure I don't have any references to that anywhere. Okay, so that was just some old code that I had lying around. Interesting. Okay, so anyway, I am going to repurpose this rerolls remaining though. Passive rerolls remaining. And that's going to be set to 0 by default. So on ready, what we're going to do is we're going to if save manager dot has meta upgrade. This meta upgrade is going to be called, what is it? Meta upgrade ID passive reroll 1. And we're going to say passive rerolls remaining plus plus. Cool. So now when we register this upgrade table, so yeah, there's going to be a whole signal chain that has to happen here. But let's figure out where we want to put these things. I might change this. I don't like... All my UIs are going to get redone. I don't like this. I don't like this wavy text. I think this would look better if I used the chain from the wave complete screen. Maybe if I just started using that as all my headers. I have to think about that, but be more thematic. Anyway. Reroll button. Okay, we're going to change the layout mode here. Or, yeah, shrink. So we'll just put that in the upper corner. We're going to need to wrap it in a margin container, though, so we can give it some margin. Oh, that's taking up space. I don't want that to happen. There, that's better. Well, not better necessarily. Okay, that's kind of an awkward place for a button, but I think I need to rethink some of this screen anyway, so we'll just say it's fine for now. How do I indicate now how many rerolls you've got? Maybe it just do... Yeah, something like that. Okay, so this reroll button, what we're going to do is we're going to grab a reference to that reroll button, node, private button, reroll button. And then in here, what we're going to do is we're going to say reroll button. This is going to be invisible by default unless you have that upgrade unlocked. So it's equal to save manager.has meta upgrade save, or no, meta, why do I always do that? Meta upgrade ID dot passive reroll 1 reroll button dot pressed plus equals on reroll pressed. So now the tricky thing is the wave rewards manager is ultimately the thing that's calling the set passive resources here. But this is being set on the upgrade table. Oops. This is being set on the upgrade table. And the upgrade table is the one that's spawning the passive resource screen, the passive reward selection screen. So there's kind of like 3 levels here. There's the passive reward selection screen, then there's the upgrade table, and then there's the wave rewards manager. What needs to happen is that the idea that I want to reroll something needs to make it all the way back up to the wave rewards manager so that this passive rerolls remaining can be decremented, but then also so that I'm sort of setting the rewards from the same place, right? I don't want to, this is a big part about like architecting things well. What I could do is I could just re-roll the options right on this screen, right? But then what I'm going to end up with is a situation where I've got 2 different places where passive rewards are being generated, and I don't want that. I want the passive reward selections to always come from the same thing, even if it's a little bit of a hassle to get all the information to where it needs to go. But at the end of the day, like this wave rewards manager here is responsible for handling the wave rewards, always. And so you kind of have to avoid the temptation to just do the easy thing and like, well, I could just regenerate the rewards in here. Yeah, but down the line, you're going to be like, wait, why are extra rewards being generated? Or like there's something happening off script that I'm not aware of. I don't know if that's a good explanation, but that's kind of how I think about things, is like funnel all the common functionality through a single place with a single responsibility and do whatever you need to do in the game to like make that work. Because I know when I want to modify the wave rewards, I go to this class right here. Anyway, so what I essentially need to do is I just need a chain of signals here. So I need to do signal public delegate void passive reroll requested event handler. Then in my wave rewards manager here, where I'm connecting that upgrade table here, upgrade table dot passive reroll requested plus equals on passive reroll requested. If passive rerolls remaining is equal to 0 or less than or equal to 0, return. Otherwise, passive rerolls remaining, we're going to decrement that. And then what we're going to do is we are going to, let's pass in a reference to that upgrade table here. Okay. And we can just say we need to accept an upgrade table here. Now, when I call set passive resources here, that's assigning it here. However, this needs to force an update now on the screen. So that needs to force an upgrade on the screen, which this needs to be called, this set passives on the screen needs to be called. But also, I think all of this needs to be replayed. So I think all of this needs to be replayed here when I click on reroll. Just trying to figure out what I need to change here to make it work. So I think I can move this one up because that's just a signal connection. Well, no, actually. Let's create a new private method in here. We'll just bring over only the animation related things. So we do need to connect to that signal here, but we only need to connect once, so we can call that in ready. This can be removed and moved down here. And this needs to be an async. Okay, so that's fine. And then what we also want to do is we want to do reroll button dot disabled equals true, so we can't click this while the in animation is playing. And then reroll button dot disabled equals false. All right, that should do it. And so in the ready method, I can call play in here. That doesn't need to be async anymore. These animations only need to be played once, so that's fine. So play in. That's going to trigger all those animations. So now when I call set passives, I'm going to create a new method. Set passives and play in. It's going to take that list of passives. It's going to call set passives here. And then it's going to call play in. So now in the upgrade table, so basically what I need to do now is I need to check if there is an existing passive reward selection screen. And one way I could do that is I could just get the first node that matches that type. So I could say var passive screen is equal to get first node of type, or this dot get first node of type passive reward selection screen. If passive screen is not equal to null, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to call set passives on it. And then also passive screen dot. Well, actually, I want to do set passives and play in, right? Yeah. Really? All right. So what's essentially going to happen is when I call set passive resources, it's going to be able to detect if that passive screen already exists. And if it does, then it's just going to refresh that passive screen essentially. I mean, at least that's the way it should work. Okay. Okay. We're about to see if this works. So firstly, what I should see is I haven't grabbed that passive or that meta upgrade. So when I go to this, I shouldn't see the reroll button. But, oh goodness. But if I go here, why are my unlocks not working? Did I do this wrong? Oh, I forgot to assign this correctly. Oops. Oh, did I not add the passive reroll to this screen? Oh, I must not have, huh? passive reroll 1. Is that what I called it? Yes. Let's just verify that this screen works real quick. Okay, I might as well just grab this from this screen here. Then we'll go back into the game. And now we should see the reroll option, and when I click it, I should get new options. If all worked, anyway. All right, let's see. Okay, we got the reroll. Oh, it's not gonna work. It's, the mouse event is being blocked by something else. So I think the easy fix for that is just to move this below so that it intercepts the mouse event first. Okay, let's try again. Okay, that didn't work. Oh, I didn't even connect. I only got like 5 or 6 hours of sleep last night, so I didn't connect the reroll button to anything. Did I even listen to this in the upgrade table? I don't think I did. Okay, so I didn't even finish this. Screen.passive or reroll. What is it called? Passive reroll. Oh, I need to put a signal in here. So we'll call it reroll pressed, reroll button, on reroll pressed. Here we go. Emit signal, signal name, reroll pressed. Then we can listen for that here. Reroll pressed plus equals on reroll. Let's do on passive screen, reroll pressed. Okay, now that we've hooked it all up, it should be fine. All right, let's take a look. Let's take a gander. All right, moment of truth. Here we go. Nice. Okay, now I need to update this reroll button to be disabled. There's a couple things that need to happen. I think I'm going to need to create another method to indicate how many rerolls are remaining in that passive screen. So I need to get that number of rerolls that are available back down to the passive screen as well. So I think the easiest way to do that is going to be public void set passive reroll count int rerolls. So now I'm going to pass that information all the way down to the passive reward selection screen. And I'm not exactly sure what the best way of doing that is going to be. Hello, Coffee Crow. It's going well. How are you doing? Good to see you. I don't really know of a good way to handle this here. Because I don't really want to have to synchronize that value between 3 different places. Making my way through your new course, learning a lot, and loving the pacing. Awesome. Glad to hear that. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, seems to be doing pretty well. Thank you everyone for all your support. It's very much appreciated. I think I've mentioned this already, but that C# course has already been successful to the point where I should be able to extend my self-employment timeline by like 2, maybe 3 months. So that's a huge help. So basically this past 2 months, I just realized I forgot to write an update to my email list this week. Oops. I should probably do that maybe today. I completely forgot to do that. Anyway, so yeah, basically that means that the past 2 months that I've worked and eaten through some of my savings has been completely nullified. So it's as if I'm starting at month 1 again. So as long as that keeps happening, I'll be able to keep doing this. So thank you. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, you guys are all very generous, but I'm also glad to hear that the course is helpful. That's what I like about selling courses. It's not just, it's not simply asking for financial support. It's also like I'm offering something. I'm offering a product, right? And that's ultimately what I want to do. I want to, make a living selling products and not necessarily just relying purely on the generosity of patrons and whatnot. I'm not saying that there aren't people who wouldn't generously donate. Of course, there are many of you who would, but I'm just more comfortable with the idea of selling a product that doesn't even necessarily have to be related to my YouTube audience, right? I have a lot of students on Udemy who find my courses just through the Udemy search and they pick it up that way. So in my mind, it's just a more sustainable way of doing things for me. And, the other thing, and maybe this sounds kind of bad to say, but the thing with like Patreon or these other kinds of like YouTube channel memberships and stuff is that kind of comes with a continuing obligation, right? If you're getting monthly donations from people, there's kind of an obligation to like consistently deliver on like the Patreon only exclusive stuff or whatever. And I just don't have the wherewithal to keep up with a schedule like that. But if I can offer an evergreen piece of content like a game or a course, I can continue selling that with minimal involvement and not feel guilty about it because people are still getting value from it. So anyway, that's just a little bit of insight into my thinking. It's not super important, but it's great to hear. Thanks, Frabo. Appreciate that. Just finished your Survivors course this week. I'm implementing my first couple of features independently right now. Can't wait to finish it. Awesome. Are you feeling pretty confident about being able to do that after taking the course? Okay, so anyway, how am I going to do this this passive reroll count? I don't know. Yes, all caps, yes. That's great to hear. Thank you. All right, so how am I going to do this? There's a couple of things that I'm thinking of. I can sync this reroll count value across 3 different places, essentially, because I need to get this from the Wave Rewards Manager. Oops, how did I do that? I need to get this from the Wave Rewards Manager to the upgrade table and then to the passive reward selection screen, which is not ideal. Or the hacky thing that I could do is I could just get this by group. I could find this using its group name, which is not something that I'm terribly fond of doing, but in this case, I just need to get an integer value, and it's stored in this class. And I'm not going to go and write a bunch of functions and like synchronizing the value if I can just grab the value from the tree, essentially. So I'm going to make this a publicly accessible value. And then what I'm going to do in here is in my passive reward selection screen, what I can do is I can say reroll. Let's create a method. Private void update reroll button. And then here what we'll do is we'll say reroll button dot disabled is equal to this dot get first or get tree. No, I guess I don't need to do this. Get first node in group wave rewards manager dot passive rerolls remaining or 0 is less than or equal to 0. And then we're going to set the reroll button dot text. So let's grab the rerolls remaining here. Reroll button dot text is equal to, what did I call it? Or how did I write it? Reroll okay, and then I'll call update reroll button here. And then this update reroll button is also going to be called after this play in, because previously I was just setting it to disabled equals false, but it actually needs to be set to enabled conditionally based on the rerolls remaining. So it needs to be disabled when the animation starts, just so that you can't interrupt the animation. But then at the end, it needs to determine whether it should be enabled or not. And I'm just going to call the update reroll button there. And then when set passives and play in is called, I'm also going to call the update reroll button here. So I call that first. All right, well, that's a little bit, I mean, it's not the cleanest thing in the world, but, you know, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? But the good news is that once this is in place, it should be relatively trivial to add more rerolls as upgrades. So we've got, ooh, what is going on here? What is going on here? Anyway, there's the reroll. It's stuck at 0 now. Why isn't that... Why was the text changing when I was hovering over it? That's odd. Why was that happening? I guess I could just, I mean, just to be safe, I could set a minimum size, but I'd rather know why that weird clipping was happening. But I guess I'll just set a minimum size on it and call it a day. I'm going to redo so much of the UI of this game after being away from the game for like 10 months or a year or whatever of not doing very diligent work on it. I'm starting to see all the parts of the game that are absolute garbage. No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, it's just like there's work that needs to be done. We'll say it politely. Don't want it to offend the developer. I know he works hard on this game. Okay, so reroll. So I can keep that there. Now let's actually do a test here. Let's reroll here. Let's grab the real one. Go back in. Okay, so I don't have any rerolls now. That's good. Working always beats clean. Clean is important after it works. Yes, that is true. There's a lot of truth to that. Yeah, that's a good pro tip for any new programmers out there, is that you may get, I've seen this a lot, like in myself when I was starting out, but also I see this a lot with students sometimes, is that there's a sort of paralysis that occurs because you want to implement a new feature into a game or software or whatever, but you get paralyzed by like, I don't know what the ideal way to approach it is. And the answer almost always is just get it working first. Just get it working in the most straightforward way possible, or in the most straightforward way that you can think of. And then once you've actually got it working and you see all the parts of the system and how it's going to come together, then you can make a better decision about like, okay, how to optimally implement it, right? You can refactor from that point onward. Really, you don't actually really get a sense for how to optimally implement something from the get-go until you get enough experience anyway. So you might as well just go ahead and implement it and then work on it, like iterate on it from there. You don't need to be perfect from the start. So that's just an unsolicited tip for any beginner programmers out there. What was I doing? Okay. Yeah, so let's just give this one more test here. There was something weird I thought I saw, but I could have been imagining things. I love my little permanent loot goblin. Yeah, so that's instantiating that screen twice. Why is that happening? Oh, I know. I know why that's happening. It's probably connecting a signal twice somewhere. Play in... Oh, when I'm calling set passives here... Yep, it's adding this ingot selector dot selected multiple times. Sneaky, sneaky. So this selected signal, this needs to be... So this is calling on selected multiple times. So this actually needs to be disconnected. So let's do this. If ingot selector dot has connection is connected, ingot selector passive ingot selector dot signal name dot selected. How am I supposed to do this with lambdas? Oh, this is tricksy. Can I do... Interesting. So there's a problem here, which is that this is connected method takes a callable that to check against, but I don't know if that's going to work with a lambda. Because I can't just do callable dot from this and expect that to generate a callable that's going to be equal to the previous callable. Interesting. Did I just find a wonky part of Godot in C#? So basically what I need to do is I need to say if this ingot selector connection exists. And if it does, I need to disconnect it before reassigning the passives. Can I do like a callable dot from new callable? How do I go up and down on the overloads? How am I supposed to scroll this up and down? Okay, never mind. Target string name method. Huh, I am good and stumped here. "100% agree with you. Taking a project in passes makes a massive difference. Pre-optimization as a focus stops you before you even start." Yep, yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, so that's that callable there, net K. That's correct. So that would be me basically doing this. So that lambda that would be me doing this. The problem is that when I call set passives again and I want to check if this ingot selector has a signal connection to the selected signal, I don't think I can regenerate this callable and have it match the previous callable. So when ingot selector dot is connected, when I want to call this to see if a signal is connected, the string name signal, it's also looking for a callable to compare to. But I think these lambdas are going to be considered to be different functions, even if their body is the same, because they're being created in different scopes. So I somehow need to like keep track of the callable that's connected. Yeah. So I need to somehow keep track of the callable that's connected, which is a little bit odd. The other thing I could do is I really wish, so the reason I can't just do this, because this would be easy, right? I could do ingot selector dot disconnect passive ingot selector dot selected, or signal name dot selected. The problem is that, oh wait, I do need to pass in a callable here. Well, never mind. Is there not a way to disconnect all signals? Like, I just want to disconnect everything that's listening to this selected. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. I guess I could get a list of... Get signal connection list. So this is going to be a little bit weird, but I think this is the way I'm going to have to do it. So var signal connection list. So this returns a dictionary. I don't know what this dictionary looks like. gd.print signal connection list. And I guess I'll print this afterwards, just so I can see what this looks like. And I think I should be able to just run this. So let's see what that looks like. Can you assign a lambda to a variable? I could, but then I need to track that in like a member on that class, which I could do, but I don't really want to do. I think I'm just going to iterate over the connected list. Create the function outside. Yeah, I think this is what I'm going to do. Get a list of signals, for loop disconnection. I think that's what I have to do, honestly, because I need a reference to the callable that is connected. Yes, I think that this get signal connection list is going to return the callable reference. So in here, this is the result that's placed. Oh, these are the results of the dictionary. Oh, I see. Right, okay. So what I can do is I can do this. dot where x callable as callable dot target equals this. Is that going to work? Why is this not working? Godot dictionaries are so weird to use with C#. I actually don't know how to use Godot dictionaries with C#. Oh, do I need to do it the other way around? Do the TypeScript thing where you just chain, like, could I do as unknown as callable? What is going on here? The as operator must be used with a reference type or nullable type. Callable is a non-nullable value type. Disconnect. I thought I had a disconnect all signals in my Godot utilities library. This dot disconnect. Maybe I didn't. I recall writing a disconnect all signals at some point, but that would definitely be doable with like an extension method in C#, except I don't know why this isn't working. Is there like a variant callable or something? Why can't I cast this? This is a struct, but this callable coming in is a reference type or a nullable type. Wait a minute, Godot, how am I supposed to get the callable in C# here? Let's do this. Let's get rid of the link for now. Oops. gd.print, we're going to print the connection callable.getType. We'll see what type that comes back. It's probably a variant. Oh, did I put this in the wrong spot? I need to put this below. Oh, it is a variant though. So how do I turn the variant into a callable? That doesn't make sense. Do I have to do as variant dot to? Is there a way to get a callable from that? As callable. Wow, are you serious? The as operator must be used with a reference type. Okay, so wait, I can just cast this, right? Is that what I'm doing wrong? Oh, wait. Oh, I see. Okay, so wait, I can't. Maybe my problem was just I can't use the as keyword. That must have been where I was going wrong. So I bet you if I just cast this straight up as a callable. Wait, I'm getting lost now. There we go. Got lost in my parentheses. Okay, so, okay, that works. Okay, yeah. So I could just do this. For each var signal connection in signal connection list, then I can do ingot selector dot disconnect passive ingot selector dot signal name dot selected, and then we're going to pass in that callable there. Goodness. All right. Okay, we got through it. I think. I don't know. We'll have to see if this works still. But what this should do is that now if I call set passives multiple times in sequence, which is what I'm doing now, this should disconnect any old signals and then reconnect with the new lambda there. All right, let's give it a whirl. I don't know why I'm running this scene. I guess we'll just make sure it still works, but we have to go into the game actually. Bam. All right, here we go. Let's reroll, and let's just make sure that I get the correct passive too. So if I reroll, boom, boom, boom. Let's do imaginary friend. That added the imaginary friend correctly, and it still added two. It still added two screens. Why did it do that? Oh, and it also added so it didn't disconnect. I did it wrong. It didn't disconnect the signal. Oh, you know what? It's probably because I'm using the event style sort of signal connection. So I probably need to do this now. I have to probably do ingot selector dot connect passive ingot selector dot signal name dot selected callable dot from, and then I can put my lambda in there. That's probably what it is. There's a lot of gotchas with the C# signal connection. I'm kind of tempted to just use the long form signal connection all the time, because there's just so many problems that come up with using the event style and like weird subtle bugs, and I honestly don't know why they would even have support for that style of connection if it's going to cause so many problems. Okay, so def reload is, I'm going to choose the middle one. The middle one is def reload, so I shouldn't get that one. It's still added two. What's going on here? And I got both of them again. Okay, am I doing something wrong here? Let's, actually, let's use our fancy pants debugger. Throw a print for the dict. Yeah, I think I'll do that with the debugger, but yeah, same thing basically. Trying to do TypeScript Go by day and then C# by night throws my brain off so much. The worst part is the order of param types. Go in TypeScript do param type and C# is type param. Oh yeah. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I actually had a job interview when I first lost my job. I did a job interview like within the month afterwards, and I was doing a live coding interview and I kept doing the C# style. I was like, oops, that's not the right order. Probably didn't impress the interviewers that much, but what are you gonna do? Okay, so my signal connection list is not working. Okay. So the signal connection list is actually just empty here. So that's the problem. So this target, must be wrong. So now I gotta figure out how to get this target. Let's do, maybe if I do a get instance ID. Maybe if I just do that kind of comparison. Because I don't know if there's like a comparison by reference here that's not working for some reason. So maybe if I just compare the IDs, that'll work. Or maybe the target is just a completely different... wait, what is the target? No, the target is, yeah. It's this current script, so I don't know why that wouldn't be working, but let's go ahead and give it a whirl again. Just tell this to your interviewer. I wouldn't mind if you told me in advance. No, I did. I was like, oh, I've been doing C# scripting lately. I'm sorry. And it's not like I couldn't figure out the syntax. I just kept making those minor mistakes. I'm used to using X. I'm used to X from using Y in my day-to-day. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Is that not checking for connected signals before they connect? I think it's... So it is checking for signals before they connect. So the connection happens here. And then, so it's checking for existing connections for that ingot selector. And then it's disconnecting it if it needs to. Enumeration yielded no results. That's fascinating. Does this work? Oh, it did. So the signal selected callable. So the target must be this event signal middleman. I'm not actually sure what the target is supposed to be. So this comparison is obviously not working then. Can I do something really hacky? Can I do this? New callable dot target. Can I just do that so that the targets are the same? Because I don't know what this target actually ends up being. It's a Godot object, an object that contains the method. But I mean, that should be this passive ingot selector, but it's also saying event signal middleman selected, so I don't know what that is. Is the target the event signal middleman? I honestly don't understand this print, but I wonder if I just do something hacky like this. Wow, this is like ridiculous. Why is this so difficult? I hated doing live interviews. My current place is take home. But it was much more enjoyable to me because it's a take home over like 3 PRs with reviews, more realistic. Yeah, I think, unfortunately, places are moving away from those take home interviews because of the prevalence of ChatGPT. Like so that interview that I did was just like a 4-hour live interview. But then I did another interview where I had to fly out to another city in the United States, and for the day I flew there and spent the day there for 4 hours. Enumeration yielded no results. Well, I am just good and stumped, I'll tell you what. Oh wait, am I just doing this wrong? Hold on a second. I need to first click the reroll. Maybe I was just doing that wrong the whole time. Oh, there we go. Now we got results. Okay, maybe that's what you were referring to. Oh no, my camera died again. What is going on here? Maybe that's what you were referring to, Coffee Crow, is that maybe I was just testing it wrong. Can I please have this video capture device stop dying on me, please? Thank you for the alert, Marcus. I was when I originally read that, I was like, I thought it said your cat died, and I was like, what are you talking about? He's right there. No, my cam died. Okay, so wait, this is working. So does this actually work? I think I was just testing it wrong. I think that's what you're trying to tell me, Coffee Crow. I was just getting a little bit too eager on the testing. Okay, so we skip this 3 times. We let it go here. I click reroll. Signal connection list. Let's step over this. Okay, enumeration yielded no results. So this actually is not working. But when I had it as new callable.target, it is working. That's so weird. What is going on? I mean, if it works, then it works. I'm very worried, though, that while this works now, I'm kind of worried that if in a future Godot version like 4.4 or 4.5, that this will actually break, and it will break silently. So I wish I knew exactly what this callable target was in C#. So I'm going to do that. Actually, I can just do this. gd.print new callable.target. Debugger is unable to evaluate this expression. Why? Oh. Yeah, why? Okay, well, we'll just do this here then. I've never had a programming job, but I'm learning web development, and hearing about coding interviews is the thing that worries me the most, especially algorithms and data structures. Yeah, a lot of the coding interviews that I've done have actually not involved a lot of algorithms and data structures. It depends on what you're interviewing for. I was interviewing for more of like full stack positions, so my interview questions were oriented mostly around like app architecture. So things like, how do you design a cloud infrastructure system to support X business requirements or whatever. And as far as like front-end dev, I don't know if you'd get a whole lot of data structures and algorithms questions for front-end dev, but I don't know. It at least hasn't been my experience that I get a whole lot of those types of questions. Hello, Killtech. I found you a little while ago while you were working on multiplayer implementation. I have been enjoying listening to your streams while I work on my own stuff. Awesome. Thought it was about time to say hi. Well, welcome. I'm glad that you've been watching, and yeah, if you want to just throw on the streams and just have like a nice little work session. A lot of people do that, so. But yeah, glad to have you here. Happens to the best of us. I don't know what this is in reference to. Is it in reference to me testing it wrong? Well, do you have to upgrade to future builds, especially if you're thinking about releasing a game in a few months? The thing is, like Godot, like each new minor version of Godot is still coming with a lot of improvements, like performance improvements, rendering improvements, that kind of thing. So I kind of just want to gain those benefits. Oh wait, why did I close that? But I don't have to upgrade, but I mean, honestly, if I wanted to make it less brittle, I would just do what somebody else suggested, earlier in the chat, which is to just keep track of it myself. I don't want to do that, but if I have to do that, then I will. But I want to see why this isn't working first. New callable.target is null. Okay, wait, so this isn't even... Oh, so it wasn't even... Okay. I wonder if the fact that it's a lambda is throwing it off. We're learning a lot about callables. More information about C# and callables than you would ever want. So wait, is the target just going to be null for lambdas then? Yeah, the target is null for lambdas. So I can't even accurately target this signal then. Because this callable target is going to be null as well. Presumably, if I gave it a name, like if I said callable.from set passives or whatever, then because this is a method on this script, the target would be set correctly, but then I can't pass in additional arguments. I can't like bind additional arguments to it. I see. Okay, well. I think we're just going to have to keep track of the callables ourselves. I don't think that this is going to work. If I have no way of specifically targeting the signal that I want to disconnect, then I'm going to have to keep track of that myself. Unless the signal... Okay, hold on. I'm going to do one more test here. We can get rid of this. I want to see what's in that signal object. Maybe that signal object has some... No, that's not going to be useful, right? Because it's going to be the signal that's on the passive ingot selector. It's not going to be related to the passive selection screen at all, I don't think. Yeah. Okay. That's not going to be helpful. So we're going to have to... all of that just to find out that, yeah, we do indeed need to keep track of our signal connections ourselves. So private dictionary, passive ingot selector. Ingot selector to selected callable. If ingot selector to selected callable dot contains key ingot selector, we're going to do this. Ingot selector dot disconnect. Okay, that should work. And then var selected callable is equal to this. Inget selector to selected callable. Inget selector equals selected callable. Okay. Well, that was a quick solution. I mean, I guess I shouldn't speak too soon. I don't know if it's going to work. I mean, it should work, but we'll go ahead and test it. Hey, question for you. When trying to learn game dev, what would you recommend to start with? Just jump into using Godot, or should you learn a programming language like C#? So yeah, it depends on what your programming experience is like, and I guess your general like tech experience. I think as a general rule, trying to learn programming at the same time that you're trying to learn game development, it's stacking, I don't want to say too many, but it's stacking a lot of skills together that you're going to be learning at once, which increases the steepness of your learning curve, right? Because you're going to be having questions related to like just programming and the logical flows and, you know, objects, classes, variables, all that kind of stuff. But then you're also going to be figuring that out at the same time that you're trying to figure out what the game engine is doing for you in terms of like rendering and setup and, you know, moving things around on the screen, linear algebra, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to like, it's kind of up to you. It's kind of what you think your skill level is. Like if you're good at handling a lot of complexity and learning complex things and dealing with steeper learning curves, then I wouldn't dissuade you from doing that. But oftentimes, you know, if you are somebody that's just kind of like you need to get a hold of like one thing at a time, then yeah, getting an introduction to a programming language first. Any programming language works. It doesn't really matter. You just need to understand how programming works just fundamentally. Then once you've got a good handle on that, it becomes much easier to move into the game development space because there's less that you're learning at once, right? That's my personal opinion. Like I said, it's kind of up to you. It's not impossible. Like a large part of my learning of programming started with Game Maker. Like I started with the drag and drop in Game Maker, and then I dipped my toe into scripting. So it's possible to learn both at the same time, absolutely. But it kind of depends on the person. When you save in VS Code, does it update right away in Godot, or is there a loading compiling time? Well, with C#, it's there's a compile time, so no code updates are applied while the game is running. I haven't tried rebuilding the game while the game is running. Does that work? Huh. Why have I never tried that? I don't think that works, but it might. But you do need to rebuild your code in any case. So, but if you're using GDScript and you're writing GDScript in VS Code, it should update real time. I was able to disconnect signals like this in GDScript. This looks like a mess. Yeah, there's no... Yeah, so I think the reason that one works is because you are referencing a method by name, whereas I'm using a lambda, or no. Yeah, you're referencing a method by name, K or whatever. Or maybe not. I don't know, maybe I'm misunderstanding what that line is doing. Let's see. You watched a random Python YouTube tutorial help you understand programming? Yeah, that's a good idea. Paradoxically, it helped more than if I watched someone try to explain GDScript. Yeah, I think that's right, because I think when you're trying to explain a scripting language for a game engine, you kind of have to start with the assumption that people know the basics of programming, because then you're shifting into describing like, okay, here's how this scripting language works, right? I think generally speaking, people don't really approach GDScript as if like, this is your first time programming ever, you know? Hello, Any Key. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. It was 7 hours long. I unfortunately also don't have a good video to recommend on that. All right, let's see if this works. All right, it worked. Signal disconnection is now working, and I'm not getting erroneously added passives. Awesome. That was quite an ordeal, wasn't it? Okay. Whew. So I can get rid of this. I don't need that anymore. This is also a good habit to get in my opinion. Just click through all your files that you're changing in Git. Scroll through them, just make sure that all the changes are sensible. You'll often catch like little garbage code that you wrote or minor things that you changed that need to be put back. Okay. Do appreciate the info though. Yeah, for sure. You're welcome. Okay, well, I'm going to call the stream there. I'm going to go grab some lunch. But again, if you're interested, I have my GDScript C# course. Or GDScript C#. What am I saying? This lack of sleep is just getting to me, I guess. Godot C# course. Still on sale for the remainder of today. So, I mean, tomorrow morning, so roughly 24 hours from now is when the coupon code will expire. So you can still get the course at a discounted price for the next 24 hours or so. And there's other courses in the links below in the description for GDScript. So check those out if you're interested. Otherwise, you know, like, subscribe, watch my videos, hit that notification bell to be notified when I'm going live. Every little bit helps, even just throwing a like on this video or any other video on my channel. Even something as small as that helps a ton. So if you're interested in supporting me, those are all great ways to do it. And yeah, thank you all for joining. It was fun. Yeah, thank you for joining Coffee Crow and everyone else. Thank you for the super chat from Snup Bill. And yeah, we'll be streaming either later today or tomorrow morning. So keep an eye out for that. All right, have a good day, everyone,